Okay, so the trailer starts off with a woman standing over her dead father, who just so happens to be a bald man in a suit. Now, this is clearly a reference to the popular Xbox game Hitman, which is a really nice touch, I think. I also have a game theory that this is, in fact, canonically Agent 47 after he's dead, because why else would they put him in the freezer face up, if not to hide the barcode on the back of his head? Because imagine if some rando walked into the morgue and saw the barcode and was like, holy shit, that's Hitman, he killed my grandmother in Italy, that whore! Not Agent 47, to be clear. I'm talking about the grandmother, because Gertrude was actually on holiday in Italy to have anonymous sex with strangers during her twilight years. Unfortunately, she was also the head of an international drug cartel, so, you know, Agent 47, that was a good kill by him. Completely justified. Now, this next scene's a real piece of shit, okay? Just really fucking piss me off, because she is answering the telephone instead of letting it go to voicemail so she knows whether or not it's worth answering. Now, clearly this woman is a fucking psychopath, and more to the point, she is answering a landline telephone. Now, if the game is doing its best to be as unrelatable to the average person as possible, then bravo, that's a job well done. But if you're asking me to get invested in the fate of a psychopath who answers a landline telephone within the first 2 rings, just because her dad was Agent 47, you're gonna have to try a bit harder than that, sweetheart. Okay, put in some effort. Now, because she answered the phone like an idiot, she has to have a conversation with some dude who tells her to go to a place called Shadow Moses, which she rides to on a motorcycle. However, it turns out the guy she was talking to was a complete dumbass, because clearly this isn't Shadow Moses. It's the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, as confirmed by a lone ball rolling towards the main character, who was named Marianne, by the way. That's important. Marianne is so overcome by how on point and subtle this reference is that it literally splits her fucking reality in half. After she recovers, she talks to approximately 75% of a dead girl, who tells Marianne that her name is Sadness. Now, clearly this dead girl is a metaphor for the human emotion called sadness. However, the audience wouldn't know that unless the girl literally called herself Sadness. This is what we call weaving exposition into the narrative, and it's very masterfully done here. Next, we cut to Marianne having a schizophrenic episode as she forgets which reality she left the keys to her motorcycle in, followed quickly by some shots of a girl who was smart enough to keep both of her arms, unlike Sadness, who probably should have been named Dumbass Who Managed to Lose One of Her Arms, but that wouldn't have been as subtle as Sadness, so it's probably for the best that they kept that name. Now, the next shot is of a man with a mustache as he traverses an alternate version of Hogwarts in which Harry Potter read one of J.K. Rowling's tweets and fucking annihilated everyone. After this, we see Marianne as a ghost, trying to avoid Ron Weasley, who turned into an axe demon after reading J.K. Rowling's entire Twitter history. You know, I gotta say, the references in this trailer are on point, but I'm starting to worry they don't have too many original ideas to work with. Now, here we see Marianne being just a complete dumbass and swatting at some bugs before falling to her death. Clearly, if she had just waited for the bugs to pass, she would have been fine. However, we have to remember that this is also the same woman who answers a landline telephone on the second ring, so I have been rooting for her to die since the beginning of all this. And you know what? Props to the developers for having the courage to kill off their main character in the trailer before the game's even started. That takes real artistic integrity, so props to them for that. Our last shot focuses on the two-armed girl from earlier, and we finally get to see what she was running away from the whole time, as a man with a gun emerges from the darkness and shoots her. Now you might be thinking, wait a sec, there's a perfectly good stretch of dock right next to her. Why didn't she run that way instead of stopping like an idiot? Well, you see, it's because this whole time we've been watching a flashback sequence. The gunman is actually Agent 47 when he was still alive, and this 12-year-old girl is his final target before he's able to retire, because on top of being a 12-year-old girl, she is also the head of an international drug cartel. She stopped at the end of the dock instead of running away, because as everyone knows, you cannot run from Agent 47. It is simply not possible. Now you may be asking yourself, what happened between this assassination and the present day in which Agent 47 is dead in a freezer? You gotta play the game, obviously. You think I'm gonna spoil the entire plot for you? That's selfish. You should be ashamed of yourself. How fucking dare you?